that collapsed and died and was eventually sold to the opposition.
It's very unfortunate that somebody will continue living a lie, promoting another party when living and deriving benefits from being a member of Jubilee.
Well, on Tuesday, November 30th, 2021, Jubilee delegates will congregate at Kasarani for a national conference. Party leader President Uhuru Kenyatta expected to give direction on the future of the party. But allies of Deputy President William Ruto have dismissed that meeting as non-consequential, claiming that a majority of members have already exited. Well, what else is to be expected on that date? Joining me in studio to help us predict, maybe figure out what could happen between now and then and on that day are my two guests, Honorable Gladys Boss, Woman Rep, Uasin Gishu. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Together with Honorable Jeremiah Kioni, MP Ndaragwa. Karibu sana.
Nashukuru.
Good to see the both of you. And actually, let's get straight into it. I want to begin in the future, 3 weeks from now. And I want to get your thoughts on what will happen on Tuesday, the 30th of November, 2021. That's when it's been announced that the Jubilee National Delegates Conference will take place. What do you expect to see in the newspaper headlines the day after that? Honorable Boss, let's start with you.
I'm actually surprised that people still think there is a party called Jubilee. Jubilee.
The man sitting next to you ascribes belongs to that party.
Yes, I used to belong to it too. Jubilee, after the 2017 general elections, had 176 members of parliament. The opposition had, the largest opposition party had 77 members of parliament. That means Jubilee had more than double the number that the opposition party did have. They then, after that, March 2018, the Jubilee Party leader embarked on an experiment of 2 people using public resources.
You're calling the handshake an experiment?
Yes, it's an experiment of 2 people. Attempting to change the Constitution of Kenya in an unconstitutional manner. He has been pronounced by 2 courts, which is more than 12 judges in total, pronounced that action an illegality. No matter what they do at the Supreme Court, it cannot be resuscitated. So when Jubilee says they're having a parliamentary group meeting, they are having with 20 MPs, and then a few that they have picked up from Wiper, and a few that they have picked up from ODM, and that is what they are calling the new Jubilee. So that will be a parliamentary group meeting or a national delegates conference to discuss their new party, which has other people. So as far as we're concerned, Jubilee is dead, it's buried, and doesn't exist, and has no chance whatsoever of coming back again. The new party is UDA. It is a national party with a presence, the most popular party at the moment, and one that carries the aspirations of Kenyans.
Before we talk matters UDA, I want you to clarify one thing, because I know Jeremiah Kioni needs to come in as well. Are you telling me that 156 MPs have left? Because you're saying you expect only 20 MPs.
There are 20 MPs, and you can look at the lists that are from the original Jubilee.
What will the headline of the paper the next day read, in your view?
They will have the usual threats, saying that they have already de-whipped everyone. They have already kicked people out of the party. They have already taken away their position as the party that held the aspirations of Kenyans. So I do not see whether that national delegate conference that they are going to have will mean anything. Maybe the only thing left is to threaten the rest of us and say that we are going to remove you as a member of Jubilee so that you can go to the by-elections. And we are saying, bring it on. My people will elect me anytime, over and over again.
Let's start from...
So let them send us to by-elections.
I've known the honorable member for Uasin Gishu County differently. I know her passion. Whenever she takes on anything, I knew her when she was a lecturer. She was a really passionate lecturer. I knew her also when she was working at the judiciary. And I think, if I'm not wrong, and I'm certain I'm not wrong, you are the first, you are the one who conducted the swearing ceremony of the first president at our 2010 constitution. So I admire her passion and the conviction that she comes along with when she is dealing with the issue. This issue seems to be getting her on the wrong side, however, because we as members of Jubilee Party will be having our delegates conference meeting on the 30th of this month. We will be having it at Kasarani, and we want to have to achieve many things. One is that it is important for us to take stock of what have we achieved as a party and what has President Uhuru Kenyatta achieved as a president of the Republic of Kenya for the last 10 years. We need to look at what we promised and what we have delivered upon. And of course, we also need to underscore that a political party is not made up of members of parliament. They're just members of a party who are elected. And the other members who are not elected are equally as important as members of parliament. It's only that members of parliament are the ones who carry the doing of the things that are promised by the party. So the leaving of some members of parliament to other parties does not mean that the party dies. It doesn't mean that you cannot hold your national delegates conference. In any case, when you read the party constitution, members of parliament become members of, they have a role to play at the NDC by virtue of being members of parliament. But there is a constant membership or list of delegates who are always at the NDC, and these delegates could keep changing at the grassroots level depending on many reasons. So I am looking forward to the NDC because we will. There's a lot that will need to be done. We don't have actually, because we have had like 2-3 meetings now. And I will surprise you, or surprise many of those who've been talking about Jubilee. We've never had a time that we spent talking about the people who left.
How many left?
Many left. But I want to remind you...
Is that an agenda issue?
No.
That the delegates would want to... Why did so many leave?
You see what happens is
the president's party?
Every time you are nearing an election, you see exodus of those who want to be elected, moving from one side to the other. If you go down memory lane and go back to 2007, the members of parliament at the PNU from Mount Kenya region were only 29. When you bring the whole country, we were 45. We led the country from 2007 to 2012, including giving this country a new constitution.
Although many will reference a disputed election, but the declaration was made by the Electoral Commission of Kenya.
It's fine. Disputes are now the order of the day in this country. Anything you do will end up in court.
Okay.
And there will be somebody disputing whatever it is that you do.
Okay.
So I am not really worried about the number of members of parliament in a party, no. In any case, the law allows you to form other coalitions with other parties, and we have done so. But I also want to clarify that we have not taken on board any member from Wiper or any member from ODM, no, but we are working with those parties. We are working with the parties on the floor of the House, and even outside where we think it is necessary, because the law allows us to do it that way. And it was necessary to do that because when the rebellious wing of Jubilee decided to become disruptive, we needed to help the country move on and not concentrate on them. There are many things we would have done. For example, would have done what the Constitution allows us to do, expel them and go for by-elections. But that would be going the wrong direction. We did not want to take the country the wrong direction. In any case, we seem to be performing better without that wing in Jubilee. They are better off in the corner that they chose to be.
So there will be no a move to expel rebellious members on 30th?
But they left. So how do you expel a person who has already left? So you actually wonder, when I see them all over the news and they spread 137 rallies, which is a record that you are now doing in this country. And in all the rallies you are talking about Jubilee, it must be a very popular party.
Okay, hold on there.
I would rather,
yes.
I wonder, why are you really worried about a house you abandoned? If it is not worrying you, if it is not a concern, if it's so weak that it's actually dead, why do you keep talking of a dead animal?
Okay, let her come in. I'll come back and give you more time.
Unless you are
Okay,
worried about it and
Yes.
You know how little it can be because you didn't manage the killing.
Honorable
Right. I
boss,
think
if perchance you're invited, would you attend?
Sorry?
If perchance you're invited for the 30th meeting, would you attend?
There is no chance, but that happens.
They're terrified of me. Can you imagine what speech I would make if I went there? Of course, they won't let me go anywhere near there.
Eventually,
I'll embarrass them. But
there
definitely, I'm not
comes a
interested.
time.
I'm not interested, and I'm
Actually, it's not the first time
attending.
there
But
comes a
let's
time
put
has been
this-
spoken. Go ahead, boss.
I think this is good. Let's put this in context. We are having not even 137 rallies. It's more than 137. The DP does maybe 10 stops in a day, yeah, on a bad day, and can do more.
Yes.
Yeah, because the others you don't see that we have.
Okay.
So,
107.
he's definitely the most inspiring, hard-working leader. When other leaders are asleep, he is working and he's focused. And we don't spend our time talking about Jubilee. Why would you talk about something that died and was buried, as far as you're concerned, and the corpse handed over to some opposition party? We're not interested. What we talk about is we have a candidate. They don't. We have a candidate with a record, a track record. They don't. We have a political vehicle, which is the United Democratic Alliance. They don't. They are still wondering whether it's Oka or whether it's Raila or whether it's ODM or they are going to get together again. They do not have a political vehicle. We have a clear political vehicle. And most importantly to Kenyans, we have an agenda. We have an economic model and agenda in place. We have an agenda for the health sector. We have an agenda for creating jobs. We have an agenda of actually being able to create wealth at the lowest level, which is the majority, so that we can ensure that there's more Kenyans who have money in their pockets, they can contribute to the tax base, and that we can be able to have money to run our affairs as a country and not have to borrow from other countries. So we have such clarity that Jubilee is nowhere in the radar. In those things that I've said, you're not our agenda, you're not our candidate, you don't give us any, we're not, there's nothing that we can do on that. When he says that they restrained themselves not to do something like send us to by-elections, the only reason they did not do that, and I can tell you this because we know from intelligence sources, is that they knew if they sent us back to the ballot, I can guarantee you each and every one of those expelled members would be right back. So it would have been a smack in their faces. He says they've had 3 meetings. I'm very impressed that you've had 3 meetings, because in my whole life in Jubilee, we have not had more than 3 meetings. In fact, in the 3 meetings, it was a monologue where the party leader spoke himself.
So we had 3 also with you.
But it was a monologue. That's not a meeting. A meeting is where you have a discussion. It's not a meeting when one person is speaking or when other people are issuing threats to others. I'm glad that you say you want to sit and tell yourselves that you want to have, see what you have achieved, what you promised, what you delivered. That's fantastic. It's about time that you told Kenyans, because Jubilee achieved so much between 2013 and up to March 2017. After March 2017, there was, in 2017, there had been a good foundation base set for the progress that would have happened. The road network, the electrification, the construction of the TVETs and admission of students in TVETs in order to create skilled labor to go into our structure, into the agenda for the Big Four, manufacturing. But what happened is, after the handshake, there was nothing remembered of the Agenda 4. Immediately, they began to talk about the constitutional amendment. And from that day, there has been mayhem.
What policy changes did the handshake bring in that you feel blocked the development plan of Jubilee?
No,
what policy, not politics, what
yes.
policy changes?
No, there were no policy changes. There was plain abandonment of the big four, and they began to focus on setting up an illegal task force, sending them around the country with our taxes, spending public resources that should have been sent on development to get people to go and write an illegal amendment to our constitution. And that is water under the bridge, because whatever we said in our camp was confirmed by 2 courts, no less than 12 judges.
On Mashujaa Day, before I allow Kioni come in, President Uhuru Kenyatta spent almost 20 minutes enumerating all projects under the big four that have been achieved between 2013 to today. Are you saying that none of that happened between 2017 and today?
Affordable housing backfired, isn't it? Tell me, how many affordable housing?
I'm the one asking questions.
I want to, I know, that's what I'm saying. If you believe his speech, affordable housing, which was about not just providing affordable housing, but providing jobs, that died. I think there were supposed to be hundreds of thousands of houses. I don't think we even got to 250 houses. When it came to the issue of universal health care, ask Honorable Kioni. Do you know how many times we are preoccupied with raising money to cover hospital bills for our constituents and our families who have challenges paying for that, for the, for health care? So we did not achieve universal health care. What we probably just achieved is the increasing of the contribution of NHIF from 250 shillings, I think at lowest level, to maybe 500 shillings, and then at such a bracket of income at 1,700 maximum. Initially, their agenda had been to actually increase it further so that they could create over 200 billion in a fund that could ensure that every person is able to cover their medical bills, and that we would not have a situation where families become bankrupt, they sell their properties and their children drop out of school to take care of one sick member of the family. It is a tragedy. It's tragic. So yes, the agenda came in, but it was not followed through because the focus changed to BBI.
Okay.
We spent 2 years dealing with BBI.
I want you to hold there so I can allow Kioni to come in. I'll interrogate some of the statements you've made a bit later on. Kioni, I can give you a chance to respond. And even as you say that they have left, and thus 30th is not about any of the quote-unquote...
He has confirmed that we left.
As you say that...
They have lost numbers.
There is one position, however, that is held by a leader of the team that left. The position of the deputy party leader. Is that a discussion for the 30th?
I think one of the things that I wish you can play the clip that...
William Ruto.
I wish you can play the clip that I saw you do in other stations of the Deputy President when he was at Juja last week, when he was calling us bully. And he called us bully, I think, about 15 times in one rally. Bure, what ya Jubilee, Bure, he want to Bure. And then, you know, his veins, his neck veins were coming out, you know, showing their power of anger. I do not know why a party you think is dead and buried would make you, you know, look so annoyed. And that I find it comical. Again, you've talked about Mashujaa Day. And remember, after a whole of maybe, I think, the 133 meetings that they had done, all they were saying is that Jubilee has not done anything, has not achieved anything. We have done nothing, there is nothing we have achieved, and blah, 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 blah.
No, we said
but on that particular day, the Deputy President stood on the platform and said he praised the President for all the work he has done, and he said he had takes to complete all the projects that has been started by Jubilee, and he will ensure that they are done to completion. So this doublespeak...
That means they are not complete.
This doublespeak is an art that the rebellious corner is trying to master, not with finesse that you would expect them to if they really want to form a next government. But it is really exposing them, even to ordinary Kenyans, saying, why, if he wants to finish the work done by Uhuru, why has he been saying that Uhuru has done nothing? Now, when we come to the issues of NDC and the rest, and by the way, one of the best things that happened to this country was the handshake. The two gentlemen are celebrated world over, President Uhuru Kenyatta and the former Prime Minister, Raila Amolo Odinga, because world over, I didn't say the country, which country, I said world over. And whenever I have had opportunity to engage with any delegation from or anywhere we have visited, they always want to know about this handshake. How did it come about? What was it that made it happen and kept it successful at this level? So however bad we may want to, or however much we may want to badmouth the handshake between Uhuru and Raila, it's really something that you don't want to spend time on, because while the Deputy President was talking about when history is written, in fact, I remember you were just playing that clip when you were walking in. When history will be written, and there will be a party that was sold to, you saw the names that he has used on Raila before.
He said sold to the opposition. To
the opposition. If you listen to the whole clip, he also talked about to many other, things. I don't want to use them. But I want to tell you, when history will be written, the history books will be talking about that handshake. It will be talking about the grand coalition government that was formed between Kibaki and Raila. It will be talking about the issue of Kibaki torture 2002. It will be talking about the IPPG of 1997. It will be talking about the 1992 deletion of the Section 2A. Those are momentous moments in this country that helped us move in a different direction. And you'll see that the players of, or the actors in those, during those times always find their space in the days after, And I tell you, Maura, it will be tragic in this country if we ever go down the road of 2007. Once we are done with an election, it doesn't matter whether you won by a landslide or by a small margin. The leadership in you requires you to reach out.
You seem to have taken us now to 2022, and I was still hoping to hear your thoughts on 30th November.
I'm trying to deal with her disappointment with her having reached out, which is always in our chemistry, and you see it happening every time. You have to reach out, because when you go to a competition and you are looking for votes, it's not a football match where you want to die because you have lost. You want to. It's just an opportunity for you to preside. It's an opportunity for you to preside and call others around the table so that you can move the country forward. And that spirit must be sold to including UDA, because they will need it if they win next year. From the look of things, from the look of things, it's a thing that is very far from anywhere near their doors. But again, going to 2022, not 2022, before
30th November.
30th November, I told you that we are looking forward to the NDC. Mm-hmm. We will be wanting to know what has the president achieved, what has he not achieved. Of course, we can't tell, but we want these things documented. It started being documented during the Mashujaa Day. We have the 30th of November, to do another documentation, and I don't want to tell you the other dates that we are going to do this, because it's a select. It's something that happens always when transition is going on. Mm-hmm. So there is nothing unusual about our meeting.
Will you be cleaning house? That's
yes, we will have to.
And what will that look like?
We will tidying up our books. That's something that you always do at an NDC. There are people who will have left. There are those who will want to come in, and that's something that you do. We will not want to do it the way people may want us to do it. Like you want to expel people and then you are writing letters that you have lost. That one we will leave people who have...
Honorable Kioni, respectfully,
let me say this. We want to leave that.
Circles.
No. We want to leave that to the people
Is the position of Deputy President William Ruto as Deputy Party Leader under threat?
As a Deputy Party Leader?
Yes.
His position as a Deputy Party Leader,
yes.
You certainly cannot continue being a party leader to Jubilee. He's moved to UDA. That's common sense. I mean, if he expects to continue being a deputy party leader of Jubilee, then he must be taking many people for a ride. And I was saying, we will leave it to their conscience. You stood and looked for votes at the Jubilee. You did not have the courage to resign. You have moved out of the party and started for 4 years. You've been marketing your own party and saying that you are going to do things you actually had asked to do at the Jubilee. You are still in parliament with the opportunity to do those things. You are not doing them when you are being given an opportunity. I am here to see these Kenyans who will entrust you with another 5 years to waste politicking, doing 140 rallies when you're supposed to be doing 140 meetings with investors so that you can provide employment to the young people.
Okay.
You cannot go around and tell us that you're hardworking when all that you are doing is having your head outside the car on the rooftop and telling people of things that you said 5-10 years ago. I mean, we can't treat Kenyans to this.
Okay, let me allow Honorable Boss to come in. Go ahead.
Sometimes it's good to look at history, because history doesn't lie, and you can see how things have always spun out. If you remember, Uhuru Kenyatta ran for president as TNA in 2013, and the deputy president was a URP party leader. Before elections, in fact, more than a year and a half before the 2017 elections, they started working towards folding up their parties and creating a new vehicle, which was Jubilee. So these things do happen. It is not, there is precedents that have been set for this. Let's recall back President Mwai Kibaki. President Mwai Kibaki vied the first time in 2002 under NAC. And before he even left, his term was over, he moved on to PNU and ran his second term under PNU. I think as a good student of law... What is the point
you're trying to make?
No, what you're saying is that you're saying that we have created a new political outfit. It does happen when you are heading towards elections. And I'm giving you that
only
in the past 20 years...
Only that you started immediately after elections?
No, it did not start immediately after elections.
No,
it did not start immediately.
It started sometimes after 2017, which was the election.
Yes, the TNA, URP folding up started 2 years before elections. I think the same thing happened with NAC and PNU. As I'm telling you, you're a good student of law, you know that we fall back on precedent when there isn't certain written laws. Because you can have the actual written law in black and white, you can have judicial pronouncements, and you can, which form precedent, or precedent through, how people have behaved in the past. I think this argument, we need to kill it, to say that that it's okay that when somebody loses, they can throw a tantrum in the streets of Nairobi, cause mayhem until business stops, until their hand is shaken, so that they can calm down and they are given some sort of vehicles and security and a job in the African Union by the, in order for them to calm down and stop their temper tantrum. That is not acceptable. That is not democracy. Democracy means people go to an election and you win. It is a competition. The difference is immediately after the electioneering period and someone is elected as head of state, the competition ceases and that person who has been elected becomes the head of state for the entire country. And Kenyans have safeguarded how that win comes about. That is why we have the 50+1. So we do not have a situation where a minority, and that used to happen in the Moi era, where Moi would win by 35%, and the rest of the percentage was divided among by the opposition leaders. That's why our constitution entrenched the 50+1, to ensure that this person has a clear majority of Kenyans behind them. It is also the reason why the Constitution of Kenya entrenched devolution, so that whoever became president could not say, because that corner of the country did not vote for me, I will not send resources there. With devolved governments, they are getting their resources whether the president wants it or not. So it has taken away. So the challenges that he's saying existed were already cured by the 2010 Constitution. We should not try and reinvent the wheel. So it is a competition. You gave the example of a football match. Yes, In a football, you said that you die because you didn't win. We watch football all the time. And what happens is one team wins, the other team will be a little sore and heartbroken, but they usually are in the ceremony when the cup is being handed over to the other team. They acknowledge that that team has won. And that is what democracy is all about. So to try and say we want to stop what is called winner takes it all, actually, in an election, the winner actually wins and takes it all. Except that it's cured by devolution, by ministries, by the chapter on inclusivity and shared prosperity and so on that's already in our constitution. So it's doable. Why do we have the equalization fund? To ensure that any area that has been left behind can be uplifted. So all those issues that you think you cured through a pedestrian, simplistic system called the handshake does not do it. It's already in our constitution and entrenched.
Honorable Boss, I want to take this discussion forward, but before that, he mentioned that he believes that on the 30th of November 2021, moving forward, Jubilee Party could possibly have a different deputy party leader.
Yes.
Legally, what does that mean? Does that have any implications?
No, I think I will wait for them. I will not speculate about that. I know the legal options that exist, but I'm not going to discuss them on national television because that would not be wise of me. So what we will do, let them do their worst. If they haven't done, they're going to do their, as my children say, the worst test, you know, because they've already done their worst. So let's wait for them to do it. We shall look at it. We shall see that if they are within the law and see that whether, you know, they have valid grounds to do that. Hopefully, in fact, by the time you remove someone from any party, you send me a notice. You tell me what I've done wrong. We check it against what the party constitution says. I will respond
the Jubilee Party constitution, even though you're now in UDA.
You know, it's common knowledge. We are technically, only technically, Jubilee members. We have basically been stripped of any privileges as Jubilee members. Today, Gladys Wanga, a member of ODM, the opposition, is the chairperson of the Finance Committee, a committee that is normally reserved for the ruling party. It's laughable. Yeah, look at who are the people who replaced Alice Wahome of Jubilee, who was supposed to be Jubilee, in the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, and replaced people like me. They replaced them with Amolo Otiende and can't remember who else, but they are ODM people. So basically, Jubilee opened its house and gave it out to their opponents, even without supervising them. So let us wait for them to let us know what they're going to discuss at the Lake Conference. But he has said what they will actually be discussing is the progress,
scorecard,
taking the stock, and hopefully going forward we can have that. And it's good to document it because, as the Deputy President said during Mashujaa Day, in fact, it's good you take that stock so that you can be sure to carry forward and finish whatever good agendas, because that has been our complaint. Our complaint has been that Jubilee started very well in 2013 and then collapsed after the handshake. So we are not saying that there was completely no good work done. There was much achieved, but it was abandoned and we did not complete the work that we promised Kenyans. Okay. On that note, allow us to take a short break. Honorable Kioni, I know you want to respond, but let's take that.
You know, when as you take the break, I allow her to speak because she even answers herself. You know, I keep listening. I say that she has answered that one. It's a really difficult place that they are in. So I really need not to respond to many of the issues. But let's have the break.
I'm dealing it with great ease.
Okay, so you allow me to take the break. Let's take that break. When we come back, really, what does this say about the state of our democracy and the state of maturity of our political parties? Why is it that every couple of months to the next election, new parties crop up, old parties are abandoned, and it's not the first time that we've seen that. I want to get the thoughts of my guests on the state of party politics in this country and why it's very different in other African countries as well. But also, I'll take some of your questions and your comments. 2242 is the SMS line. Hashtag is Newsnight. We're talking about an event that will take place 3 weeks from now that could have great implications for the Jubilee Party, the President's Party. Stay with us. We'll be right back.